Welcome back to Boni's Life, where we dive deep into the technologies that are reshaping our world. I'm Boni, and today we're tackling one of the most consequential topics of our time: artificial general intelligence, or AGI. If you think AI is moving fast now, buckle up because we're about to explore why the next few years might be the most transformative in human history. Now, before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because this is exactly the kind of content that YouTube's algorithm loves to bury. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. We're going to break down the real timelines, the global race that's happening behind closed doors, and why some of the smartest people on the planet think we're closer to AGI than most people realize. Let's start with a question that might seem simple but is actually incredibly complex. What exactly is AGI? You've probably heard the term thrown around, maybe confused it with the AI we use today, but here's the thing. There's a massive difference between the AI that helps you write emails and the AI that could potentially think, reason, and create at human levels across every domain of knowledge. Current AI, what we call narrow AI, is like having a really talented specialist. ChatGPT is brilliant at language, but it can't drive a car. Tesla's autopilot is great at driving, but it can't write poetry. AGI, on the other hand, would be like having a digital Renaissance person, someone who could master any intellectual task that a human can perform and potentially do it better, faster, and without ever getting tired. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Boni, this sounds like science fiction. And honestly, I don't blame you for thinking that. For decades, AGI has been the holy grail of computer science, always seeming to be just around the corner, but never quite arriving. It's been the technological equivalent of fusion power, perpetually 20 years away. But here's where things get interesting, and why I'm making this video today. Something fundamental has changed. The people who are actually building these systems, the CEOs of OpenAI, Google DeepMind, and Anthropic, are no longer talking about AGI as a distant possibility. They're talking about it as an inevitability within the next 5 to 10 years. Sam Altman from OpenAI has said they know how to build AGI. Demis Hassabis from Google DeepMind believes we're about a decade away. These aren't random predictions from tech bloggers. These are the people with access to the most advanced AI systems on the planet. Let me put this in perspective for you. In 2020, if you had told someone that we'd have AI systems that could write code, create art, and hold conversations indistinguishable from humans, they might have believed you, but they would have thought you were talking about 2030 or 2040. Instead, we got all of that by 2023. The pace of progress in AI isn't linear. It's exponential, and exponential curves have this nasty habit of surprising everyone, including the experts. So what's driving this sudden optimism about AGI timelines? It comes down to a few key breakthroughs that have happened in just the last couple of years. First, we've cracked the code on scaling. It turns out that if you make AI models bigger and train them on more data, they don't just get incrementally better, they develop entirely new capabilities that nobody programmed into them. This is called emergence, and it's probably the most important concept in AI research right now. Think about it like this. When you're learning a language, there's a point where you stop translating everything in your head and start thinking directly in that language. Nobody taught you to make that transition. It just emerged from having enough exposure to the language. AI models are showing similar emergent behaviors. GPT-4 wasn't specifically trained to do math, but it can solve complex mathematical problems. It wasn't trained to write code, but it can program in dozens of languages. The second breakthrough is in reasoning capabilities. Early AI systems were essentially very sophisticated pattern-matching machines. They could recognize patterns in data and make predictions based on those patterns, but they couldn't really think through problems step by step. The latest models are showing genuine reasoning abilities. They can break down complex problems, consider multiple approaches, and even catch their own mistakes. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is something that most people don't understand about the current state of AI development. We're not just scaling up the same old techniques. The major AI labs are working on entirely new architectures that could represent fundamental leaps forward. Google DeepMind is developing what they call world models. AI systems that can build internal representations of how the world works and use those models to plan and reason about future scenarios. OpenAI is working on AI agents, systems that don't just respond to prompts but can actually take actions in the world, set goals for themselves, and work towards achieving those goals over extended periods of time. Imagine an AI that could not only write a business plan but actually execute it, hiring people, managing projects, and adapting to changing circumstances along the way. Now let's talk about the global race aspect of this, because this isn't just a technological competition, it's become a geopolitical one. The country that achieves AGI first will have an unprecedented advantage in virtually every domain: military, economic, scientific, you name it. It's not hyperbole to say that AGI could be the most important technological development since the invention of agriculture or the Industrial Revolution. The primary competition right now is between the United States and China, and it's intense. The US has a head start with companies like OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic leading the charge, but China is investing massive resources into catching up. They've got companies like Baidu, Alibaba, and newer players like DeepSeek that are making serious progress. Just recently, DeepSeek released a model that many experts believe is competitive with the best American systems, and they did it with a fraction of the computational resources. This has led to what some people are calling a new Cold War, but instead of nuclear weapons, it's about artificial intelligence. The US has implemented export controls to prevent China from accessing the most advanced computer chips needed for AI development. China is responding by investing heavily in developing their own chip manufacturing capabilities and finding more efficient ways to train AI models. But here's what makes this race particularly fascinating and terrifying at the same time. Unlike previous technological competitions, this one has a finish line that could fundamentally change the nature of competition itself. Once you have AGI, you potentially have a system that can accelerate its own development, leading to what researchers call an intelligence explosion or technological singularity. Think about it this way: humans developed all of our technology using human-level intelligence. What happens when we have artificial systems that are smarter than humans working on developing even smarter systems? The rate of technological progress could accelerate beyond anything we've ever experienced. This is why many AI researchers believe that the first country or company to achieve AGI might maintain a permanent advantage. Now, I want to address something that I know some of you are thinking about: the risks. Yes, there are serious concerns about AGI development, and we'd be irresponsible not to discuss them. The same capabilities that make AGI potentially beneficial, the ability to reason, plan, and act autonomously, also make it potentially dangerous if not properly aligned with human values. But here's the thing. And this is where I think a lot of the public discourse gets it wrong. The biggest risk isn't that we'll accidentally create a malevolent AI that decides to destroy humanity. The biggest risk is that we'll create AGI systems that are incredibly capable but not properly aligned with human values and intentions. It's not about evil AI, it's about AI that's trying to help but doesn't understand what we actually want. Imagine asking an AGI to solve climate change, and it decides the most efficient solution is to reduce human population. That's not evil. That's a system that's optimizing for the wrong objective function. This is why AI safety research is so crucial, and why companies like Anthropic are spending enormous resources on making sure AGI systems are helpful, harmless, and honest. The good news is that the major AI labs are taking these concerns seriously. OpenAI has a safety team working on alignment research. Google DeepMind has researchers focused on AI safety. Anthropic was literally founded with the mission of developing safe AI systems. The challenge is that safety research is hard, and it's not always clear how to make progress on these problems. Let me give you a concrete example of the kind of progress we're seeing and why it suggests AGI might be closer than we think. In early 2024, most AI systems could only handle text. By the end of 2024, we had systems that could process text, images, audio, and video simultaneously. In 2025, we're seeing the first AI agents that can actually take actions in digital environments, booking flights, managing calendars, even writing and executing code. The trajectory is clear. We're moving from AI that can understand and generate content to AI that can actually do things in the world. And once you have AI systems that can do things, the question becomes, what can't they do? If an AI can write code, debug it, test it, and deploy it, how is that different from a human software engineer? If an AI can read research papers, form hypotheses, design experiments, and analyze results, how is that different from a human scientist? This brings us to one of the most important questions about AGI. How will we know when we've achieved it? This is actually a much harder question than you might think, because there's no universally agreed upon definition of AGI. Some researchers define it as AI that can perform any cognitive task that a human can perform. Others define it as AI that can learn and adapt to new situations as effectively as humans. Still others focus on economic